children are a blessing from God, and many will cherish the gifts of their wombs with the greatest care. But the society is sometimes bedeviled with uncertainties that lead to the precious souls being left to care for themselves out of conflict between parents, loss, or even trauma in the family setup.
Poor parental care with neglect will usher children into children's home.
Children are dropping out of school because of neglect. They are not getting their basic necessities because parents are not doing their duties. And we have gender-based sexual abuse, making the home environment very toxic for children.
You see, most of the children are orphans. So they are left behind to be taken care of by their old grandparents or their relatives who live in utter poverty.
The children will then resort to being street kids, especially in major cities, indulging in sniffing glues and sometimes engaging in crimes much to the chagrin of the society. With the increase of street kids, humanity play a crucial role, and many well-meaning individuals will set up charitable children's home with the main aim of bringing sanity into the growth and development of these kids.
Don't really know who are my real parents, and I don't know who are my real guardians. In the year 1999, that's when I found myself in the feeding program at Methodist Church.
Nilijipata kwa street nikiwa mdogo sana. Sikumbuki wakati nilipata mamangu na babangu akiwa pamoja wakati after kuzaliwa. The first life nakumbuka nilipata kwa street, mimi na mabro zangu watano.
The vision of the person who started the institution was to help and serve those children that were born with HIV out of frustration that they were dying, they were suffering. Then she thought of how does she help?
Even as we appreciate the support and care the charitable children institutions provide to children without parental care, research has shown that children thrive better in families and communities.
I think the care reforms is a good way to go.
So in Meru, we have about 30 institutions, and we are sensitizing the workforce in the institutions because they are the custodians of the children who are targeted by the care reform. First and foremost, care reform emphasizes on the need to have children growing up in their families and in the community.
CCIs have been shown to negatively impact a child's growth and general well-being. It is against this backdrop that the government of Kenya came up with the National Care Reform Strategy 2022-2032.
A child who joins a family that she or he has never been to will have a great change adapting to the new kind of life. But according to the care reforms strategy and the trainings that most of us have undergone, I think there is always a way somehow.
It was a response to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the UN Guidelines for the Alternative Care of Children, the 2019 United Nations General Assembly Resolution on the Rights of the Child, and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of Children, which reaffirms the significance and the leading role of the family in the care, nurturing, growth, and development of children.
When there is spiritual support, psychological support, love combined together, this child will change and will be able to adopt easily.
There are an estimated 45,000 children living in over 845 charitable children's institutions, privately run residential institutions overseen by the Directorate of Children Services. In addition, there are an estimated 1,000 and 1,200 children living in 28 government-run institutions including rehabilitation, remand, reception, and rescue centers. The government of Kenya has invited partners to support the implementation of the national care reform strategies, whose vision is that all children and young people in Kenya live safely, happily, and sustainably in family and community-based care where the best interests are served. To support implementation of care reform in Kenya, in March 2022, Legatum Foundation launched the Legacy for Children L4C program that is being implemented in Meru, Murang'a, and Kiambu counties.
Child's place to grow up is in the home, right? And the home is where the child's needs are to be met. Okay? And so what we can do in the home is to make sure the child is valued.
For effective implementation of care reform at the county level, the National Care Reform Strategy requires that every county undertakes a situation analysis.
The first thing we did before we started any type of data collection was to involve all critical stakeholders. We sensitized every critical stakeholder in the process. We started with the Area Advisory Committee, the AAC, and then we went to the very critical CCI managers, the managers, the founders, the social workers in these institutions, because then without them buying into the process, we knew that we could not do much.
In collaboration with diverse stakeholders, the L4C program undertook situation analysis in Meru County. For one to achieve successful situation analysis, some proper structures which involve first making sure the situation analysis follows the National Care and Reform Strategy for the year 2022-2032.
We all recognize the fact that, with the current Children's Act and the new strategy, the county government has a very, very big role to play in as far as care reform is concerned. And so why did we do all this sensitization? It's because we wanted every stakeholder to feel part of the situational analysis.
The vision and the goal of a strategy need to be spelled out during the meetings, as witnessed in Meru during some of the discourse that was undertaken. During the writing of a situation analysis, all stakeholders were required to acquaint themselves first with the main reason why the situation analysis is being drafted in the first place. Training of enumerators is a crucial key pillar in the drafting of a situation analysis, with a step-by-step process of how they gather the data.
We trained enumerators and they carried out the situational analysis, collecting data from all our institutions. The results are now out. We can tell clearly why the children end up in the institutions, and I think now we will be in a position to address those issues now that they have come out very clearly.
With Meru being the first county in Kenya to have achieved a successful situation analysis, there were several achievements according to the stakeholders who undertook the study.
I've been selected as one of the enumerators to collect data on the situation analysis for the child care reform.
The process of data collection that was used during the drafting of a situation analysis used a qualitative and quantitative data collection methodology that were derived from the Kenya National Toolkit for Residential Childcare Institutional Situation Analysis that were published in 2020.
If you look at this National Care Reform Strategy, the government of Kenya is saying in 10 years' time, by 2032, we should not have an institution that is housing the children in Kenya.
With all the efforts by different stakeholders in the sectors, the future looks brighter in the implementation of the care reforms in the country for the next 10 years.